What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Coach Ken, and today we've got a good one. I'm joined by one of my athletes, Ryan, and in this episode, this is really about the journey, where he started, how we crossed paths, the decision to take on a completely different endurance challenge than the norm, and ultimately the road to becoming an Ironman. Ryan is a runner at heart. His background is primarily in running, trail running, and ultra running. And funny enough, we actually met out there on the 100K course a couple years back. So fast forward from there, we linked up as coach and athlete when Ryan decided to take on the challenge of completing his first full distance Ironman Ottawa. This wasn't just taking a runner and adding swimming and cycling. Ryan also manages diabetes with an insulin pump. So throughout the entire process, there was another layer to consider: training, recovery, fueling, blood glucose management, and just figuring out just how to put all the pieces together out there on the course of a full iron distance. So today we're going to go all the way back. We're going to talk real quick about how we met, talk about why he decided to take this on, kind of what the training process looked like, some of the highs and lows along the way there, and then break down the experience he had there at Ironman Ottawa from start to finish. So Ryan, welcome to the podcast. Before we get into the Ironman journey, I'll hand it over to you. Give everyone just a little background on who you are, your history in endurance sports, and eventually kind of what brought you into the world of triathlon, but specifically stepping up to that Ironman distance. Welcome.
Well, first off, thanks, Coach. You helped make this all possible. A lot of people go into this thinking they read that one mediocre plan online and like, oh, I can do this. There's so many more challenges to consider, and thank you very much for your help through it all. Mainly, most important thing about me, I luckily got married to an incredible woman who was really the backbone of this whole entire journey. My wife, Indira, was one who pushed me to start running again back in 2017. I gained some weight. We bought a house, had a young child, and it was work on this, go to work. And I packed it on. I got over 200 pounds, and now I'm 5'9", so that was a lot of extra weight. So she pushed me back into it, and from there, the journey started. I did my first half marathon in May of 2018 in Bridgehampton. Went on to my first marathon for Marine Corps that year. So it was a fun experience there. I didn't really know what to expect. Enjoyed it. We had its trials and tribulations, of course, and the training was way different than what you provided me. So I learned a lot here, which was great. But after that, it was just, enjoy whatever came. Do the occasional 5K or 10K around town. Meet up with other people. I'd met so many people on the course, obviously you being one of them. And, a lot of people, they meet on the trail and give you your life story in 2 miles and you separate and never see each other again. So, I got very lucky between you, a friend of mine, CJ, and met people through him that this community kept growing and growing and growing. And it's really a lot of fun to have. So yeah, I'm a proud father of 3 young ladies. My oldest is 11 and she started doing 5Ks with me a couple years ago because my wife has them at every single finish line, cheering us on. I mean, they probably saw me on the bike 4 or 5 times passing through, at Ironman, and it was pouring rain. So their commitment to their dad is amazing. So it's nice to have my little cheer group there. I even had my kids' bracelets on for the run that they made me. A little reminder of who I'm out there trying to impress, who I'm trying to show this is the good stuff to do. So yeah, I only started dabbling in triathlons probably in 2021. I enjoyed my running, enjoyed my trail running before that. And my neighbor across the street, again, part of the reason I got back into running to begin with, he was like, "Oh, why don't you do a triathlon with us? Like, you can just do the run portion, like for the relay." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, that turned into me doing my own individual entry in Jamesport for the sprint. So I did Jamesport, liked it. I rode my wife's bike, so I'm going up 105 and getting passed by these older women that have their time trial bikes just cruising by me with no problem uphill. So kind of a different way of looking at things, different kind of training, having all these different disciplines. So, of course, I got sucked in, why not? And did Sag Harbor that year as well for the Olympic, which I think is my favorite distance overall so far. And after that, I went and got a little bit more serious and bought a nice used bike and jumped into it. So had a couple good years there, a lot of, PR after PR, doing this, doing that, and, kept working my way up to things until, my wife goes, "Oh, well, you're already halfway there. you're already halfway there. So again, the driving force behind everything I do is her. Every time I'm out there running, swimming, biking, she's here with the kids. She's taking care of everything. She's cooking the meals, meal prepping for the week, going grocery shopping. So I would never have been able to do this without her help. So that's my biggest thing. But yeah, like you mentioned, type 1 diabetes, coming up on 30 years. So that's people ask, even at the end of this race, they found out I had diabetes. They're like, you did this whole thing with diabetes? They're like, I can't even get my nutrition down as it is. So I laugh. I'm like, well, it's just another science experiment. Like every day I go out there, try something new, find what works. And thankfully through all the training you gave me throughout this plan, when I tried different things, worked out different stuff, you've introduced me to different things, past trail runs, suggested different gels that, knowing my situation, and I end up using those gels in the run, the UCAN. So it all came together. But that's me in a nutshell.
And this is something, again, it's part of the story because uh, endurance sports is hard enough to begin with. Running's hard enough to begin with. Then, like you said, you step into triathlon, multi-sport. That just adds layers onto everything. And like you said, some people fight for years and still try and fight to come up with their fueling plan that'll work properly for them. And not only do you have to come up with specialized fueling plans, you even have to carry equipment that's attached to your body. You have that insulin pump. And even that was something through my coaching journey that, helped me learn a little bit through this as well. So not only can I help you, as a coach and athlete that, again, has a certain need out there, or a certain, asterisk next to their name in my book, is they help me learn throughout the process as well. So you help better prepare me for any of the future athletes that may come along with that. Our way we met was, kind of funny out there just during that 100K journey out there, running across Long Island twice.
Just grinding.
To think like just being out there, to, again, that community you said that you just meet so many people out there and you don't know where you're going to relink up or where the journeys go. And I'm glad our paths have continually gone, crossing over like this. And then linking up for, coaching. We had plenty of conversations as we had some overlap in training with the trail running and with some other races going on after that. But this started, I just want to say, first of all, you are probably one of the most planned people I know by having, when you're like, I think I want you to coach me and I'm going to send you a spreadsheet with all my thoughts and ideas. You already had the race booked by hour, where you were going traveling a year out, which is impressive. And actually we could probably do an entire podcast just on, that prep alone that you did. Like, I'm staring at your file right now. You have tab upon tab in this G Drive file of everything. And you left it all in one place, which is awesome. Cause some, it's the 7 P's of planning. I forget what they are right now, but it's like proper planning prevents piss poor performance or something like that. But you had nailed it, and you just kept logging things in as you got closer to race day. You'd put your bags in there, your itinerary in there. So you just had it all in one place right there. I mean, you even have your notes for the podcast here, which, you probably didn't think you would have had at the end of last year when we were just starting to talk about all this. But going back in my coaching files, I was basically kind of starting up last December. And I think that's important to tell people when they're going to want to step up to a long course, even if this is ultra running, 50 mile, 100 miles, something you've never done before. Is it something you want to start that conversation with ahead of time? This isn't something, I get it too. Some people come 4, 5, 6 months out from a big race and it's like, hey, can you coach me? And it's kind of like this abbreviated fast forward project to get them to the finish line. But we had the ability to run through a few different base phases in going to January, February, March, until really the build began, which was 20 weeks out from race day, which was the middle of March. So kind of, just, I don't know, give me a little bit about leading into before the 20 weeks started, when it was like game time with this Ironman build. I'm sure you had some maybe expectations or things that you thought maybe the training would involve. So what was your mindset like during those base periods or right before we started, of like what's to come? Like, what was that picture like in your head?
So back in 24, when, right after we met on the trail race and started, oh, this guy's a coach, maybe I can get some free information now. Reached out, we started talking about Muscle Man, my 70.3 I did. And I threw some stuff out there to you. And what do? Send me your recap from the year before. And I was like, oh, this is great. So you document everything so well, and of course, as you can see in my spreadsheets, I appreciate keeps me organized. And from there, I started watching a few more things. Oh, he has this, he has this. Now the whole 80-20 thing, of course, you joked about in the last video. I was not about that life. You want me to run slower? Like, no, no. But when we had that first conversation, I think it was I did my 70.3. We went to my parents' upstate. It was like a 3-hour drive from there to go spend a few days, and kind of text you like, "Hey, just did this. It was awesome. Thanks for the help." And kind of looking at a full, because again, my wife goes, "You're halfway there." Yeah, okay. And we got chatting a little bit. I remember I was actually almost down by the water. I had you on a cell phone, talking about everything, and you were about to run a special for Chattanooga that year because you wanted to go back. And at the time, I had all of my shoulder problems that it's like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen yet. So I ended up getting the surgery. So rotator cuff was blown out from a calcium deposit, and then my scapula tendon was gone. So the 45-minute surgery took 3+ hours, and they said my tendon was disintegrated. But I did the 70.3 swim in like 42 minutes. I was like, all right, I don't need it now. So one of my big concerns was, how do I get back from that? Am I going to be able to swim? I mean, I spent 6 months roughly in physical therapy, which is longer than what most people do, but I told them from the beginning what I want to do, what my goal is. And a lot of them, they're sports therapists. They know what this is. They know what the sport entails. They know the training and so on. So I was on the ball, getting the stretches out, doing the full arms and everything. And that's part of all the exercises. And thankfully, they did an incredible job building me back. So that was a huge concern. And I do wish I would have taken your coaching on earlier, because if I did, I wouldn't have probably got my first DNF there at Shore to Shore in 25. I would have been able to listen to you and not run every long run hard and try to catch up and get back to fitness. So when we first got together and you explained this is how my coaching works, this is how I do things. It's kind of like a preamble, like this might not work for you and it's fine. There's no offense taken by you. You just want to make sure that it's a good fit and I know what to expect. And I did. I gave it a go. Like I trusted you. You obviously have your own accomplishments, the things that you have been able to do, which is impressive to me. And I respect you as an athlete. And then as a friend, you've always been there, willing to help, ready to help, sharing whatever information you have, even looking into things further to help me if you didn't know at the time. So I was like, all right, we got to trust him. He knows what he's doing, So my biggest thing was having someone to keep me accountable so I didn't overdo it and end up like that DNF I had, which was heartbreaking at the time. So, yeah, I trusted you, and you did not obviously let me down. The training,
No,
it worked.
and we'll get into how the race went because spoiler alert, it went pretty well. But yeah, it's just with the long course stuff. There's this misconception of, I guess, that this is a big event. You just have to train a lot and really hard. But at the end of the day, a lot of these long course events are just slow burns. They're just about being efficient, about your body able to use fuel properly throughout the day, just having your heart rate in a zone that it can just work for hours, that all day pace. Not that it's easy training, but you can overdo it. A lot of people overdo it early on in the plan. Like we'll talk about how the plan kind of ramped up over the 20 weeks, but and actually I just was mapping out somebody's first Ironman for next year for one of my athletes. He was like, hey, can you give me like a snapshot of how it's going to look? So what we're going to talk about, this actually be a good listen for him, is kind of how it ramped up. And, it didn't go right in the first week like, oh my God, this is so much work. But, I told you, I'm like, enjoy the sessions early on in the plan, because at some point you're going to be putting in weekends worth of work. Yes. So enjoy these easier sessions now because you will have to put in some work. So going into that, I mean, March came around, we did some base training and time started flying by already. And to think that we're already talking post race about it. But I remember when I saw the calendar, because I make notes ahead of time, when, I made my own note for 20 weeks out and I saw it coming up in the next block and I'm like, dude, it's about to get going. 20 weeks. You're like, oh my God, where did winter go? So how to just, if you remember, even like back in that first two blocks, like that first 8 weeks of the 20 weeks, like, how was the training? I know we built the intensity, like you said. That's the important part of that base training, was like we were able to discuss what intensity should look like. We're learning. You kind of learned yourself as an athlete some things about training through that, because we want to lock in once that 20-week period comes. So those first 8 weeks, like, how did that training kind of look for yourself? How did it feel?
I was definitely struggling with the whole 80-20 deal for a while. That was tough. But once you actually updated my heart rate zones, we got that all taken care of after the first pretty much week. I started beforehand to try to get used to it, and I was like, I have to run a 13-minute mile to stay in Garmin zone 2, which was obviously completely wrong. Once you updated that, I was like, this isn't so bad. And like I said in the beginning, it was pretty slow. I wanted more. You warned me about what was coming, but I was like, I want faster runs. I want to hit some tempos and intervals. Like, I want to push myself. And my biggest concern obviously was the bike. I love swimming. The fitness was not there at the time, but what I focused on a lot, especially the first, I want to say, I don't know, probably through April to middle of May, was more technique than anything else. You sent me all the different videos of the catches, the releases. Think of this, think of that, and while obviously there's no perfection there, I did gain a lot of efficiency, and I think that's where I felt most comfortable at that point. All right, my swim is good. I think the first time I hit the hour swim, and it was, I don't know, 3,000 yards in the hour, I'm like, cake, done, got the swim. We can stop training. So my concern still was the bike and building up the, ability to do the run after the bike. And the bikes, I felt a couple of them. I mean, that power test was horrendous. But having the trainer downstairs was great. I'm not a man of money. You and I talked about this with our pain caves, finding it on Facebook Marketplace, getting it for cheaper. You don't need things new. If it works for you and you can get a hands on it. I got my bike trainer, my Zwift, for I think $250 from a guy who just did Chattanooga the year before and was done. So, okay, cool, pass it on down, and it really made my bike training happen. I mean, how many of those long bikes did I even do down there? I think I did a 4.5 hour bike just down on my trainer. Had the tablet up. So really, the first few, I gotta say, were easy. It was actually kind of uplifting to see the progress I made on the swim and the run. I was like, all right, the run's there. I got the run. Okay, sure. Until you find out how hard the run actually is in an Ironman. But it was all progression, and the build really got me ready for those hard weeks. So when they came, as much as it was a lot more work, a lot more intensity, I was able to handle it, which was obviously the whole point. So your build up was fantastic. I was getting very antsy in my mind, wanting to do more, but at the same time, it was perfect.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially again, it's new, right? This distance for if you a seasoned Ironman athlete, you've done it a handful of times. We can play with the training a little more. We can look at past training, what worked. Your body is adaptable, so if you were going to do an Ironman every year, you're able to change the training slightly because your body has gone through that training before. But you're about to go through a training block that you haven't done yet, hit some bike distances that you haven't done yet. And that's important, especially again, the bike is the biggest portion time wise of the race. And it's one of those things where we definitely have to check some milestones throughout the process here. You unfortunately got hit with some crappy days when you were scheduled to go out, and it was like, you didn't have the perfect weather in bike days. Some people's builds, they're able to get every ride outside, good weather. But you had so that's why you wind up inside sometimes. And that's something that you have to be ready for as well, because you got to get the training in. Sometimes you have a Saturday is your bike day and it's a monsoon out, and you got two options: 80 miles in the rain, which not the safest thing in the world. We want to control the controllables, or we're going downstairs for 4 hours. And you were able to kind of make that happen. So kudos to you, because that's like next level unlocking when you're going on the trainer for that long. But like you said, yes, Ironman also, good point. Triathlon alone, multi-sport's expensive. Now you start talking about Ironman, and it is an expensive endeavor. It is something definitely that I personally love shopping on, secondhand on marketplace. I don't think I could probably count on one hand maybe some of the things I bought, outside my shoes, which I buy brand new all the time.
Yeah.
Never bought a new bike, always shopped, found a good deal on something. Trainers, same thing. Just kind of finding those deals out there. So there are ways to shop around that. So it is, you don't need the biggest and fancy stuff. Like you said, you did it on your wife's bike the first time, the triathlon. It happens. But yeah, you got a good setup for this. I was able to help you out with some things that I had laying around there. We kind of got it together. Had a couple times where we went over your bike together, just trying to get things rolling, because I knew that the bike was a little bit of a roadblock out of the three things. Everybody always has one discipline that they just kind of have to work harder at.
Well,
And kudos
I
to you
remember
that you
you
had
laughing at me when I said I hate cycling. You're like,
I was
know
like,
you
why
have
are
to
you
do
doing it?
112 miles, right?
Yeah, it's 112. You should tell your wife doubling the distance is a lot more when you double from a half to a full. But we you started putting it together, and then eventually those sessions, I just kept saying it, they're going to come, and they're going to come sooner than you think, and they're going to be all layered on top of each other. And next thing you know, like, you're headed into probably, I mean, right as the weather turned around Memorial Day, June rolled around, week 12 of training. You're starting to get into like half Ironman shape about by that point, where like a weekend training is going to be a 55, 60-mile ride. It's going to be a 10 or 12-mile run the next day. You're going to probably have a swim within that time frame as well. That's going to be somewhere 2,000 plus yards. So the weekends start to almost look like half Ironman sometimes,
Yeah.
just over a 2-day span. And that's when, you managed to get through it very well. But I
I had some
know,
help, you know.
yeah,
I
yeah. I
well,
mean,
this
discuss what that was like with your family too, as far as you approach it the same thing I did. This was a family commitment when you stepped up to this distance, and how they were able to kind of just help you along with doing some of the things that were, I even told you, even reached out a few times on the messenger, and was just kind of like, you know family needs a little bit of time here, and totally acceptable.
yeah, my originally my wife put this out there of the you're never going to be happy the rest of your life calling yourself half an Ironman. And when a woman knows you, it's hard to argue. No, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna hate that the rest of my life. So we sat down and talked about it, and this is back in 24 after the half, and not knowing that stuff with the shoulder going on, we're like, we'll talk about it in the fall. We'll see where I'm at. And obviously, it was a big recovery coming back, and it really wasn't until I think the decision was made actually on my birthday, or around like when I had my family over for my birthday in 2025, where we looked at everything. We started looking at races. Chattanooga, kind of was drawn to me because you brought it up. I was like, oh my god, this looks like a lot of fun. Then they changed the bike course. I was like, well, that's less fun, but okay. Fun place to probably bring the kids and go enjoy it. And then we look like that's a third week of school. We can't take the kids out the third week of school. So again, this family aspect. When can we actually do this? I want my family there. They want to be there. So it means a lot to me to have them at the finish. Do I need them there the entire time beforehand? Of course not. But if we're going somewhere, we might as well go and try to enjoy it. So my wife and I are on our phones looking at the different races, when they are, where they are. We were looking at Florida because we have friends down there. She's like, "Oh, Wisconsin, I can go get some good cheese." We're just trying to figure out ways that will make this work. And I'm like, I don't know. And you saw my spreadsheet initially had all of them listed. Well, the ones that were missing were all the way at the bottom of Ironman's website. It said more races. I was like, oh, okay. So I clicked that, and it brought like 4 more up, and one of them happened to be Ottawa. And I'm like, wow, it's in August. It's gonna be hot. Kids aren't in school. My wife works at the high school, so it's easier for her to take time off. Like, this could work. So we go back and forth a little bit about it, and there was only the 1 year. So once I hit you with this, you're like, oh, boom! I can't imagine you just diving right into the research of everything with it. There's only 1 year, but I'm going to find every possible thing I can. So it just fit, and I told her, I said, this is going to take a lot. I have that generic thing on my spreadsheet, all right, of the plan. I said, this is the basic thing that they have. This is all the time and training it is. I got moved from, we didn't know at the time, but from midnights, which kind of opened me up during the day for any kind of training I wanted, to days and afternoons. Completely changed the game in the household. So now I'm not there all day in case the kids need it. I'm not there all day without the kids during school days where I can do all this training. It's I might be working on a Saturday and Sunday during the day. Then what? I'm going to come home and go right into training. So I'm pretty much not going to see them the whole weekend. So it really changed the dynamics. And like you said, big discussion. We went through all of it, and she finally said, "I can do it. Let's do it. Like, looks like fun. Let's take the kids to Canada, have a great time." But her one, oh sorry, two. There were two clauses to it. First was we're gonna go enjoy Canada beforehand because last time around I got like sepsis from lakes, this whatever, in Geneva. I felt like garbage 2 days later. My fever spiked, my heart rate spiked. It was bad. So she goes, "We're gonna enjoy it beforehand. If you want to die on the way home, like that's fine." The other thing is, on August 3rd, it's my turn. Not for triathlon. She's not doing that, but just focuses on her. She's gonna do what she wants to do, and I'm back to daddy at home. Let's go. Which completely fair. She's been doing this for 8 years now, so it's very fair to have it be her turn. So yeah, it was agreement that had to be made, and at that point, I did text you in Discord. I said, "Hey, we gotta change things around. I'm not getting 3 swims a week anymore. It's too much trying to find these swims because the pool. One of the biggest challenges with the pool was it's open 6 to 8 and 11 to 2, and then 5 to 9. So I had to work it in when possible. I couldn't just go when I wanted. So again, when I work a day tour, I come home, see the kids for a couple minutes, and then go do my swims. Or I have to go down there, do a run first, then swim. Whatever the situation is usually I team the swim up with something else, so I don't just do one thing every day. I kind of make it worth it. And so you made it work where there was, okay, here's 2 swims a week. You changed around even the bike and runs during the week to try and make that more accessible. So you were able to also work with me and my family to ensure I got the training in, which was a huge deal. And again, people with kids and wives and responsibilities, if you have parents or loved ones you have to take care of, have to make sure you can plan ahead. It's a big factor.
Yeah. Yeah, as you're going through that, I was looking at your spreadsheet, and I think it's a good time to bring up the pros and cons list you had before before this. Like the cons, like you said, training schedule. Is 0 to 1 rest day a week, because then you have family stuff to do. Cost is obviously a factor. Less time to do the house stuff, like you said. Hey, the lawn will grow back next year, right? But you had the pro list, which was a pretty good one. As a good achievement for triathlon. Self-satisfaction, being a bad bitch, you wrote down. I had to throw that in there tonight.
Like a bad bitch right now. I mean,
yeah, and all the other stuff you said about drivable kids in school, like all that. Again, you were able to put that up so that those things were not factors when we got into this deep into training. It wasn't like an oversight where you're like, oh shit, it's the week before school and we didn't realize that, and you had it all planned out, which was perfect. So we rocked and rolled, man. We went through 20 weeks, really knockout. Well, I have to say it now, but there was really no big setbacks. There was no glaring red boxes and training peaks or anything like that. You just constantly put the work in. I kept seeing it show up. So kudos to you, man. Consistency is king there. You put in the work, and I didn't have any doubt outside of, we controlled what we controlled during training. When we did the pacing plan leading up to this, I do it, as you can tell, a little conservative, and there's a few reasons for that. We just don't know what's going to happen out there in a 12 to 16-hour day. There's a lot of factors. One wrong thing or one gel that doesn't sit right is wrecks the entire day. So, we look at training numbers. We looked at them on the phone together, and we put together what I call, it's like that was your report card for training, which was, if all goes well, just like training, no big issues, controllables on race day, you should be able to do that. Like that number we put out there. We set, and with a little bit of room in there, so you wouldn't get, if you did have something go on during race day, you wouldn't be like aggravated at yourself that you're falling behind a couple hours into the race, because you just don't want to feel that way. You almost I'd rather hope that you're going to be better than it on race day if it's going well, so that you're more motivated to keep adding that time in the bank, as we call it, as we go through race day. So you set off sail, man. You went Ironman Ottawa, a little bit of trip beforehand with the family, enjoyed some days. I like that you got out and traveled. You didn't do a last minute travel up, which some people do, and it kind of rushes them. And it's just not good planning before the race there.
Oh, kudos to
So
my wife on that one too, because she had a hotel big for us and and the kids and everything. Little kitchenette because she knows I don't like to spend money and eat out all the time. And it was a mile from Ironman Village. Apparently, this other place, the Moxie, opened up like 3 days beforehand while we were still upstate at my parents' house hanging out. And she booked it. She's like, listen, I can always cancel it, but I booked this right now because it's 700 meters from Ironman Village. I'm like, that's not bad. That's pretty darn good. I mean, at the street it was on, you go right up at the end of the street. It's boom, Ironman Village done. So we talked about that. She's like, you know what? I was like, I will. Backstory: I was denied any rights to any kind of lodging ever again because for Muscle Man, I picked apparently a murder house for Airbnb. I'm trying to save money. I didn't want to go to the hotel, not knowing that the parking was be a mile away from the actual race spot. And we go down a gravel place, down a hill, through the woods. There's like some random thing over here, and now here's all of a sudden our house. I'm like, oh goodness gracious! Like it looked nice on Airbnb. It was fine, but if we were murdered, no one would know. So therefore, it was the murder house, and it was 20 minutes from the actual race location. She was not thrilled. She's like, I could have been sitting in a hotel, just kind of watching you out the window. So she was in charge this time, and I was not getting in the way. I'm like, do you feel this is better? Go for it. Like whatever. We eat out all the time. Who cares? At this point, I don't care. Which worked out great because all the French delis. Oh gosh, perfect. You want to talk about good carb loading? That was fantastic. So, and we end up booking Thursday night. Also, we went a day early. I said, you know what? It's going to be a 4.5 hour drive. Let's just get it. It was another $160 maybe American. Like, just do it. And then we were able to get up there Thursday night. I checked in first thing Friday morning, and then we enjoyed all of Friday. Got my bike in, transition bag situated Saturday. Enjoyed the rest of Saturday, and it really made the trip, worth it. We got to see a lot of stuff, enjoy a lot of stuff. So my wife is, again, the person here. She's a hero.
did you? So when you got up there, gives how was? I mean, you don't have a lot of Ironman villages to compare it to, but how was the village? How was the atmosphere? And did you wind up checking out one of the athlete briefings while you're up there?
I was supposed to and started to. I went up with the fam and got stuff together. And what was it? Was it Saturday? Saturday was a shakeout run. So Friday I got up, got all my stuff. So I wanted to get it back to the hotel and we can enjoy the day. And I figured Friday night we come back and I'll get all my chaos bags together. You saw the picture of the bed. It was nuts. So Saturday, and this was actually nice. They had the Facebook Ottawa group, for Ironman, and I put a question up there about how do we get the bike down to T2 if there's no actual transport from Ironman Village to T1 rather, because it started to swim T1 and T2 at different spots, and they had shuttles, but from like a Cineplex down the road. So it was a little weird. And one the I don't want to say local, she's from another part of Canada, came on and it's like, oh, last year we just dropped off our T2 bag, had our T1 bag on us, and we rode our bikes to T1. I was like, all right, in case I don't link up with you, can you send me the map? And sure enough, she did. Found me on Strava, and they have how Canadians are nicer than Americans. 100% accurate. So she sends me the route and says, well, we're going to be down around like 10:15 if you want to meet up and just go together. So I met with her and her friend that were doing it. It was her 14th Ironman. Her husband actually just works them now when they travel and go because they're in their 50s and she just likes to do this. So he's like, I might as well make money. So he was one of the marshals out there, and that worked out great. I rode with them. We linked up with two other people, found two other people on the road. So there's a group of like 6-7 of us rolling down, and up there, Canada closes the highways every Saturday and Sunday for cycling. Pretty cool. So they didn't have to take the bike path. We took the road down. and took a practice swim with her, and they gave me a ride back. It all worked out great. And Ironman Village itself was pretty cool. I can't say I really enjoyed Muscle Man too much. Um, I think I rushed through Muscle Man, didn't really take it in. Just wanted to get my stuff, get situated, get back with the family, whatever. This one, they were there with me for a little bit, and then they went off and allowed me to kind of do my stuff. And Saturday was the day that I really walked through, kind of took it all in, looked at that mat that they were rolling out, building everything. I'm like, all right, we're going to be here tomorrow. We're going to run across that thing tomorrow. And that's when I started feeling it. Started getting all excited. And lo and behold, I'm like, what are those people doing over there? Athlete briefing. I'll go stand over there. And I listened for a little bit, and I think my only question I was really looking for was the eyeglasses table. Because I sent an email to Ironman to begin with about my insulin pump. Another fun little factor. In past experiences, the T1 closes a lot earlier than the start of the swim. I don't even know if they even closed the transition area this time because, it's the race started at 6. Everyone, people are still in there. So being Ottawa in the summer, the sun rises so early. It's pretty much an hour earlier than I'm used to. And generally speaking, I have to take my pump off, leave it with my bike, and now I'm not getting insulin for that whole time, plus the swim, plus when I get back to my bike. So my blood sugar is usually high 200s, 300s when I start, and I feel like garbage on the bike. Can't really fuel all those issues. So I said, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll make sure if Indy wants to go down to girls that I can be handed something by an outside source. That's a big rule. You can't take outside help. And they got back to said, absolutely, it definitely allowed. And then I asked if they had an eyeglasses table, but they never got back to me. So this would be my question I would ask. Someone asked it right off the bat, like, done, good. So sure enough, I had my pump on me probably until about 10 minutes before I started to swim. Put it into a plastic bag. Because I couldn't have it on the whole time because I still had to zip her up. But gave it to them, and I said, "This is my insulin pump." The woman looked at me, the volunteer. She's like, she goes, "Say computer, computer, computer when you get out of the water." No problem. I put it in the red Ziploc, so it was very prominent that this is what it was. Worked out great. I came out of the water. I was 144. It's like that worked. Didn't go so well. Probably half hour after I finally spiked up, but yeah, I didn't really stay for the whole briefing because my one question was asked. So I went out, took my shakeout run, and that was it. But yeah, it did hit though, sitting there again, not being, I hate to say it this way, but not being distracted by the kids or anything like that. Just kind of looking around, seeing it. Oh man, there's Ironman Ottawa sign. They didn't put up the bell yet because that's what I was really looking for. I wanted that bell. They had the mat going. I'm like, this is cool. You've seen so many videos. The 70.3 was awesome, a great accomplishment, but it wasn't the same. Like I knew what I was walking into, or hopefully at that point running into, and it was starting to really hit me there. And I got really excited. I'm like, I could do this. I could do this race. So that was when it kind of clicked. I was like, all right, we're good. Let's enjoy it. And that was that.
So the confidence is there, which is nice because that was one of my questions was, the confidence piece. So morning of now, you're waking up. It was wetsuit legal. You did have the option to wear the wetsuit. It was under the temperature, which is great.
Wetsuit optional, technically.
Well, technically.
I couldn't make Kona because I wore my wetsuit.
Yes.
What a shame.
Yeah. And that's something I tell everybody is if you're not sure, and depending again on if you're confident enough, you swim all the time, you don't have a wetsuit, that's fine. It's long course. And like you said, if we know, listen, I am nowhere near anywhere in my age group, especially now with what you need to get into a world spot or something like that. It's going to save you a lot of energy on a long course. And that's what it's all about.
Yep.
So we had our pacing plan there when we went with it. And we had it conservative, and we went even more conservative because, again, we swapped down to 2 swims a week a little bit towards the end. Yeah. You did the distance of training. I knew you had a little bit of a swimming background, so I wasn't too concerned over it. But going into that, we had you kind of pegged at all right, if you get this swim done in an hour 30, hour 35 minutes, don't set any world records. Save your energy, get out of the water. That was the big thing was I know you're going to be excited, but do not waste your energy on the swim whatsoever. Like it is just truly warm up in the grand scheme of things for the day. How was the expectation of the swim course versus reality of going through it? Like, how was the swim course up there in Ottawa?
Um, you heard a lot of mixed reviews, and it's tough to get a full capture by just the Facebook reviews, so to speak, because obviously everyone is affected differently by the different aspects. And the overall consensus was the current is not that bad. It's a little bit on the way out, but it's the chop is the only thing that will end up really being a problem in the Ottawa River. And we were kind of in a little bit of a cove, so I was hoping it was gonna be okay. We had some rain earlier that week. It was kind of drizzling on and off that morning. Um, so I was like, you know what, it is what it is. It's a point. Go out, turn, come back, point. I don't have to do loops. I don't have to worry about counting. I'm just gonna go out till I see that last buoy, and I'm in. That's it. Focus on control my breathing, controlling my anxiety, which obviously, as you saw, happened a couple times in open water. I have a history with that. South Jamesport Bay, I'm gonna get eaten by a shark. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I went out. I knew there was 2,000 plus other people with me. They're not going to pick me first. If there's a shark out here, I'm good. Um, so yeah, I went out and the water, it felt great. There was almost no chop. Like it was barely anything. It was just a little river water, whatever. Nothing on the way out until the first turn. There was a little bit kind of at the right ear, kind of pushing you into the middle of the swim course. So, okay, I sight every right shoulder pretty much. So I switch every 3 breaths, and I always come up on the right. That was working just fine. A couple of them I tried going a little further just to keep the efficiency down. But once that started pushing me, and you see a lot of people really going in, so okay, let's focus on this. And it was good. Once I turned I don't know what you would call it. I have 1, 2, 3, I guess 4th turn. So like the long way back, it was beautiful. It was just there was probably one person that got close to me. Otherwise, people were kind of spaced out. There was only one guy that kept doing the sideways, kind of back and forthies. I definitely had to slow myself down because a couple times I'm like, these people were annoying me, cut in front. So I'm like, oh, speed around them. I'm like, no, you're only in 500 yards. Like, take it down a notch. You're fine. And I think I only looked at my watch the one time just to kind of see where about I was after like the 3rd turn, and didn't look at the time, just the distance. I'm like, okay, I still feel great. Let's keep it consistent. And when I came out of the water and looked at my watch again, I was like, holy shit. Like, okay. Like I said, I got a lot of time in the bank right now. This is really nice. So that was a great first surprise to the day.
And for reference, our time goals, we set basically two times. Like 13:30 was like, you should be able to do 13:30 if all goes well. And then we also set this other goal for sub 13 hours. All the pacing came out to like 12:55. I signed on to the app after I woke up in the morning, and I was like, let me see where he's at. And you were just getting on the bike, and I had seen the swim time pop up, and I was like, my God, the boy made a swim today. And in reference, you were in the top third of the field. There was over 2,000 people that finished the race. Obviously, that doesn't factor in how many people started the race. You're top third for the swim. So like that was a really good swim. I was like, all right, if the RPE was there and it was proper, like that's amazing. I was like, I just hope, wasn't crushing it there. And then you ran into transition. So how did the T1 roll with you? And then, transitions, 10 minutes each. We kind of like throw them out there for Ironman. That's kind of my placeholder unless there's a crazy type of transition. But you almost hit it right on the head there at the 10 minutes. So what was going on there in transition in T1?
Started off, well, actually, the first 2 parts of it were funny. Of course, I go up to the woman again at the glasses table. I was like, and I only said computer. I didn't say it 3 times, so she got confused. That was my fault. And I told her, red bag. She's like, oh, yeah. So I grabbed that. Okay, good. Now I can move on. You know how they have a line of people to help you take your wetsuit off? Talk about not paying attention to directions. I come up to them. They say, turn around. So I turn around onto my stomach and pretty much give them my ass. And they're like, no, what are you doing? These 2 poor girls are like, flip around on your back. Give us your feet. So right then I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun day. I'm already messing this up. So that gets off. I'm cracking up, take my stuff, and I'm like, all right, might as well use a bathroom break now. Bathroom's right there on the way in. Cool. So get that done, go inside, and it was a madhouse in there. There's just people everywhere, on chairs, stuff everywhere. I'm like, all right, I'll look for a spot, whatever. Someone got up, good. I go down, have my bag. These volunteers were phenomenal. Guy comes over. What do you need? Do you need gels? Do you need electrolytes? Do you need Vaseline? And I'm like, nope. I was like, I'm good. I'm just kind of getting through my stuff. So now I'm hooking my pump up. I wore my bike shorts because as you and I discussed with the insulin pump and my hydration belt, the tri suit wasn't working. So my pump has to go in one of the back pockets. And with my newer tri suit, it was like the blue with the American flag. I really wanted to represent up there. It has one single pocket in the back. And unfortunately, depending where my insulin pump site was, the line would not reach, like the length of insulin line. So I tried ordering new ones, back order, they want to come in. So I'm like, all right, so I at least have to abandon that one. The other one that I did my other training in worked fine. It wasn't as comfortable, but when I did my practice run, and I don't know which distance it was, maybe just a 10-mile one, and that belt was just rubbing on the pump in the back. Like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to do changes. So now I knew, I was like, all right, my transitions are going to take a little longer. So that's the decision of what do I wear underneath wetsuit. And I asked you, I was like, can I just wear my bike shorts? Of course, you can wear whatever you want. So I wore my bike shorts underneath, and cool. I just got the wetsuit off. All I do is put a shirt on, put my pump on, socks, shoes, kind of out the door. Now it sounds a lot faster than it was, but whatever, worked out fine. I People in our kind of line of work, humor is kind of what gets you through most of the days. So I hear the guy that was trying to help me, and he even said, like, just leave your stuff there. I'll put it in your bag. Like, whatever it is, I'll fill your bag up. Again, great. I hear him go, hey, do you need, like, a finger of Vaseline? I was like, whoa. Like, take on someone else. I was like, what do you do with Vaseline? He goes, no, not till T2. So, again, the joke's already started. I'm already having fun now. I'm like, great. So it helps the vibes, helps take that race anxiety off, the pressure off. It's so a bunch of us were laughing, having a good time. So I get out to the bike, and I'm like, all right, here goes what I hate, cycling. Now, I love my bike. I really do. And I definitely had the sexiest rims on the whole entire race. So I'm just throwing it out there. But there's so much more focus to me. When I run, even in trails, like, you just have to not trip on a route and make sure you don't get lost. This, you're looking for potholes, looking for people, looking for cars. Thankfully, all the roads were fully closed. So no traffic at all, nothing to deal with there, which was great. But that was a big problem for me. But yeah, T1 was just fun. I came in just under that 10-minute mark we had and sailed off onto the bike.
And then as far as the bike course, like I said, we had a good setup on the bike. We got you efficient. You did the bike training. You did all the bike training. We knew you'd, and it's tough because I knew biking is not your favorite. And it's a long day out there. I mean, You're typically average Ironman length first time is like 6-7 hours on the bike, right? And
I banked on 7.
Yeah, we put you, the pacing plan that we had would put you there. I'm like, hey, 6:30. That's with enjoying a special needs stop in the middle if you have to, or a couple potty breaks, whatever it is that you got to do out there. Because it's not really a hard and fast start to finish like a 70.3. Like, you don't just say, well, I can do a 3-hour 70.3, so I'll be 6 hours on the bike. Like, there is a little more fall off on that. But you got out there. I mean, how was the bike course? How was the road conditions? Good that it was closed to traffic, which is awesome. That is just phenomenal to have that on an Ironman course. Easy to follow. How were the roads? And then how was fueling throughout that? And then if and when you did anything at the midway point for the special needs.
So yeah, you did your best to prep me on the bike despite my issues there, and you did a great job. So the first mile, again, we went through pre-race kind of. You're just like me with your organization. This is where the hills are. This is what you got to do. Take it easy. So first mile was a light uphill. Really, it wasn't bad. It looked worse on the map than what it was because now you're fresh. You got that adrenaline. You're ready to go. So getting up wasn't bad. It was still lined with a lot of people outside of T1 and going up that hill. cheering you on. So yeah, obviously that always helps. But that first 16 miles, I should say it, the first 2 miles probably good till you got in the highway, was a nightmare. I mean, you want to talk about riding on a bike in Baghdad? It's pretty much what this probably was like. You look around, you're trying to avoid all potholes. I barely got into Arrow, just trying to make sure I'm getting around. It looked like a yard sale. There's water bottles and gels, people with their flat tires. I'm like, already. And this was my obviously biggest concern, was something happening on the bike. Now, I had a few things happen during my training on the bike, which helped cool me down, be ready for it. I mean, you and I talked about it. My bottle rack completely broke off the back one day. My arm bars kept coming down. I stopped, fixed them, moved on. I finally got that mindset of, again, controllables. You couldn't do anything about this, Ryan. Figure it out. And that was bad. But once we got on the actual 3-loop portion, pretty good. We got down past Parliament. There was a kind of tough right-hand turn. Now I'm fully up. I got the right brake and the left brake kind of tapping, and fully up, let the wind hit me. And there was a little bit there after you get that downhill, about 2 miles of not nearly what it was in the other area, but still some stuff to watch out for. Now at this point, I'm like, how are these people passing me? It was the elites that were flying by me on their second lap. I was like, oh, makes sense. Because, of course, a couple of them, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, and I get behind them, I start going. They're like, that's the second lap. I'm like, I'm going to slow back down. So that was pretty good. The 3-loop portion was pretty nice. Very open. Again, full road closed. You had the yellow line in the middle dividing everybody. There's only a couple times I saw some of those elites going around the opposite direction, which kind of freaked me out. But, like, whatever. It is what it is. Very little way to enforce any kind of drafting. I'm not a drafting guy, but like a 6 meters is, you're not going to get that much room. There's too many people out there. But otherwise, the hills, like you told me beforehand, all rolled pretty much into each other, with the exception of the ones that were going up from Parliament down the one road, and then from probably like the 60-mile area going down that other side that you loop. Those are the ones that had sharp turns. So I took that first loop, basically learning the course. Now, typically, as you've seen, I'm a prepper. I know the course. I'm ready to go. This time around, I got so much involved in just getting ready with training and making sure I was good, making sure I had all my stuff I needed, that I was like, the bike course could be what it's going to be. The run course could be what it's going to be. I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to learn it the first time and hit it the second time, which worked out great. A couple of downhills, even had like the squiggly road sign. Okay, take it a little easy the first lap. Now I see after that first time, like, oh, I can hit this thing next time. And as we had a discussion, how much do you weigh? And I'm like, like 193, let's change. You're like, oh, you put all that weight in the front and you're going to go down like a cannonball. So now what am I thinking when I go down the hills? I'm like, cannonball, I'm all tucked in, flying down. My wife loves the story. So when she saw me at one point, she's yelling there from the sideline. So, of course, I tuck in and go. So, again, just made me laugh every time I go downhill, take some of the pain and everything out. But overall, it was nice. I hit the special needs. Actually, I think I hit the bathroom first, probably around 30. I marked it in here. See, 32 roughly. It's like, all right, hit it again. My fueling made me nervous. I came out of the water at 144 my blood sugar, and then within the first probably 15 minutes or so, my blood sugar started going up. Now, I did have a honey stinger in transition to help start that pre-fuel process, recover a little bit from the energy used in the swim. But I guess my body was just absorbing it. Like, oh, man, you just did all that work on the swim. We need to really store this now. So as I was riding the bike around mile 15, I'm like, I need to start fueling. I can't not eat. I can't not drink my electrolytes. Like, I have to get fuel in. So I adjusted my pump a little bit. Of course, riding a bike as I'm looking back and trying to do all this. People going by like, you okay? I'm like, just work with diabetes. And say, you have diabetes? Like, why are you out here? So once I got that taken care of, it came down in a nice gradual fashion, not a steep drop, which is scary. And I just started hitting fueling. And I got to say, one of the things I got was a kind of precision fuel package, right? Precision Fuel was their electrolyte sponsor. I wanted to get used to it, try to get used to things on the course. I've had the Morton stuff before, was okay with it. There's not real flavor there, but I know I can ingest it. Precision, I wasn't so sure. The electrolytes, the drink, not a lot of flavor, but worked fine. Their chews, though, that I got in the first sample, I really liked their chews. Um, I took whatever packages I had left and actually opened them all up, put them in a Ziploc bag, and threw that in my bike shirt in the back. So now when I wanted something, I just reached behind into the open bag because obviously it's still raining. I could just leave them in there. Well, grabbed one out and went. And I think I only had one or two gels. The rest were those and the Morton bars. I started grabbing the Morton bars on my way through because it's like free candy. Yeah, you grab like, oh, I got a bottle. Oh, I got a bottle. Oh, I got a bar. So now it's just fun going through aid stations as I'm riding, and the bars were awesome. So I started taking those. The fueling was our big thing, right? Trying to figure out how I'm going to last, and I had some issues there on a couple of the rides where even my 100-mile one. That's why I got very worried about the bike. I put myself at a hope to finish before 7 hours. I got done with the 100-mile. My blood sugar tanked at the house. I was done. My body felt like garbage. I mean, I did I don't know, it was a 30-minute run after I think we had, and it was not pretty. So I knew I had to do something different. Like I had to fuel so much more. So once the blood sugar got regulated, it really made me feel a lot better about the situation. And I got to about halfway, so 56 miles in, just before the special needs bag, and I saw 3 hours on my watch. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going way too fast. This is not going to be pretty on the run. I'm like, whatever, I'm finishing. I'm going to make it there. The whole C goal was to finish the race. Doesn't matter. I got 17 hours. I can make this happen. But I got very worried. So I was like, take a little bit off. You'll hit the special needs bag, slow down a little bit. Their special needs area, again, the volunteers were incredible. They see your number, they yell out, someone grabs a bag, brings it over. But there's nowhere to kind of get off your bike. So all the bags were kind of on like the sidewalk area thing. Bikes are still flying by you on the left because now it's a little bit downhill before they get back on the other side. And I'm like, I can't get off. I wanted to change my socks because they were soaked. I'm like, you know what? I'll take the socks. I'll throw in my pocket. I'm going to go to the bathroom eventually anyway, so I'll stop and do it there. Refilled my fuel that I had and kept going. So I didn't spend too much time there, but, whatever. So I wanted to try to hit a bathroom around. So I measured from there to the turnaround. It was like 7.5 miles. All right. I know how much it is to get back for the third lap. So now I'm trying to calculate what I can do. So on the way back in, I'm like, oh, I got to hit a bathroom. I saw 4 people online. I'm like, nope, not wasting that time. So I was like, I'll go to the next one. Not having no idea or memory of where this next one was. So from mile 60, it was probably 70. I think I had about 70 at that point. I got to like 89 to the next aid station. I was like, oh my God. So I got off, used the bathroom, changed my socks. What a glorious feeling to have dry socks on. Oh my gosh. Great advice. Thank you for that. The rain stopped at that point. It was hitting a little bit in the beginning of the bike, and then it kind of delved off, which was nice. Dry socks felt great. The potty break felt great. And I was like, I'm at almost 90 miles. I'm like, we're good. We got this. Let's just hammer this home. So I said, screw it. If I'm over biking, it's too late now. So I went through it, and I was pulling right up the transition. It was like 5:58 on my watch. I said, oh, shit. This is going to be a long marathon. Because now I'm just envisioning what my 18-mile run was like the day after my 100. I'm like, this is going to be a while. So I was extremely excited about my bike time, but also very scared for what my run was going to have.
Well, looking at your bike time here, I have it all up here. Like we said, with the stops and whatever may come up, or just a really conservative bike, especially for you, we know that you can run. We know you like to run. So we have to play that to our advantage, because any good triathlon, especially an Ironman finish, you have a good result with a good run. You can't have a good result without a good run. It just doesn't happen. And we knew that's what we wanted to set you up for. I knew a buddy that was in Tennessee a couple years earlier when I was there. He knew he wasn't going to run the marathon. He had some knee issues. He can bike, but he couldn't run. So he knew, I'm doing a walk, very easy jog the entire marathon. So, and he could bike. So he just smashed the bike course to get as much time in the bank, got on his feet. But we didn't want to do that. When I can mold people's runners to say, listen, just hold a little bit. And as I saw, and again, because I had to do conversions as we're going through here. I should probably learn my metric system well. Because you're racing in Canada.
What's Celsius to Fahrenheit?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's great. He's going whatever kilometers per hour. I have no idea. So I'm doing the math back and forth. I'm like
Made me
looking
look
at him like,
faster.
yeah, and I'm like, oh no. When I do the calculation, it's like he's ahead of pace there. So for that pacing plan, it's hey, if you can beat 6:30, awesome. That would have given you 17.2 miles per hour average, and that's again with your stops because the clock keeps running when you're
Yep.
there. It's not like Garmin when you can stop it and let the Strava people think you were going faster. You actually perfectly. I have your Trading Peaks up now. Like the pacing was solid throughout. The first half of the bike course shows you at an average of 18.9 miles per hour. And then you had those like two windows again before you went to like the bathroom break there. That section was like a 26-mile section after the halfway, 19.2 miles per hour. And then that final section, 19.1 miles per hour into the finish. So super evenly paced. And even again, those little percentage more because you held out a little bit with the first 56 miles, which is perfect. You assessed yourself. Talking to you now, it seems like you made the right decision, and you kind of understood like what it should feel like out there, or what it might feel like if you're really overdoing it. And you got race day vibes, and you got a taper under your belt, so the run should have felt a little bit differently than in training, a little bit better. And when I saw your bike split pop up, I mean, you did a 6-hour bike split like to the T, and that's really awesome to see that. When I saw 6 hours, I was like, if my man can get some run legs under him for this run, this is going to be a friggin' awesome day. I mean, by already putting 45 minutes or so like in the bank almost before we hit the run course,
Yeah.
and right in my head there, I did the math, and I'm like, oh man,
Oh,
he's
I
going to be like,
started that when I started the
yeah.
run.
I'm like, we're talking like 12:30 is going to be a new goal here, as we were running out there. So now you're hitting transition two. You come in, they're taking your bike, right? And then you're going to get your bag and get ready to, get your run stuff on. And then how'd you feel though at that point? When like bike's over, you dismounted for the final time. Like,
Oh, I was
what was
hyped.
that like for you? Yeah.
I felt fantastic. And one of the two girls that I met up with to take the bike to T1 in the morning one day, I passed her on the bike. And now a reason I knew it was hers because she had a lime green Quintana Roo. So I was like, there's only one other lime green bike out here. So I was like, hey Jesse, what's going on? She goes, why are you so happy? You hate biking? Because I love telling people this. Because like again, every time, why are you doing this? You hate biking. So I'm like, well, I'm having a great time. Like this is fun. Like you said to me beforehand, start interacting with people on the course. We're all in the suck together. We're all hitting it. We're all doing our own deeds here for the devil, and this just helped to get by. And the laughs, the fun, the jokes. I love hitting the dad jokes to a couple people. One kid had 2 meat sticks out the back of his pocket on the bike. So I'm going by. I'm like, I'm gonna get your meat stick. He's like, don't touch my meat stick. Which I thought was a great idea. I'm like, man, I should have meat sticks on the bike. Like that was stupid. But it's just being able to get in that mindset of not worrying about what you're doing. It's like the happy running. When the best running form you see is what, a 6-year-old running around the playground. Right? There's nothing. There's just having a great time, and there's no strain on their body. So why not have a good time? So yeah, when I got off that bike, I was like, we're good. We're getting the finish line. I didn't even care at that point what time. I was just excited to get off the bike and get dressed. And yeah, I had the one issue in there with my lock lace. My lock lace failed me. First time I ever had a problem with it. I've used them every single triathlon. I've had a new pair of these, and it might have been me. I might have not locked it down hard enough. Could have been user error or whatever. But I go, get that tight pull, and it goes snap. I'm like, oh no! So one of them came off underneath the one clip. I'm like, oh god, this isn't good. So like, okay, pull it tight, tie a knot. We ain't changing our socks now. Like this is gonna be what it's gonna be. Talked to a couple of guys, and obviously we're getting ready, getting dressed, get good to go, get my pump on. And T2 was a little bit longer than I wanted. I stopped for another potty break at that point because I thought typically I only have to use the bathroom once during a marathon. Maybe if I get out right before I get on the course, I won't have to stop again. Was wrong, but like whatever. So I ended up with like a 12 minute to like 12:45 T2, but again, I didn't care. I was off the bike and I was ready to go out there and just pound some pavement and have some fun. So I was ready to go. Again, at this point, way ahead of the game. I'm in a great mood. I feel great. Let's see how long I can last. So just went for it.
And we'll talk about your pacing for that. I mean, again, the pace plan was 4:30, and I just seen even good runners on an Ironman distance course. It's hit or miss if the legs want to be there for the run. And then when I started seeing the first few laps get down, I was like, all right, just put more money in the bank here. Let's go. You know, overall, like we'll talk about the run course, but your pacing was great. I mean, for the first half of the race, you're looking at like a 9:38 pace, which is phenomenal. And then the second half only drops down to a 10:20. That fall off for an Ironman course when you're already out there for 10 plus hours is amazing. It really is. The efficiency that you put in there. And then just having overall your heart rate stayed in zone 2 for 89% of the run, which is amazing. That's just, it didn't drift, it didn't go into these other zones. You didn't push too hard. You kept your intensity right where it needed to be for that. And it's all day, like zone 2. You just made it happen. Like that engine you built was super efficient there. So the run, you love the run. Like, give me some tidbits out there on this run course because you crushed the run. Like, seriously, putting that together after, and it wasn't that you overbiked, you biked to your ability, made the right decisions that day. How'd the run course feel out there?
Well, again, at the beginning, I wasn't sure if I overbiked or not. I was worried that I did, but I was just excited and talking to a couple people. My buddy Anthony, him and his brother Mike were just like you, watching what I was doing all day. Sending me those little texts and everything, so I get them to watching the finish line video and everything. And we all agree, like, just walk through the aid stations. Get there, take what you need, enjoy that little walk through the aid station. I mean, it's a decently long aid station. Um, my original coach, my neighbor across the street, Mike, who, again, one of the three that got me back into running, he always said, he goes, the best thing to do on a marathon, if you're going to walk anywhere, is walk the aid stations. You grab food, you grab electrolytes, you grab whatever you need. You get to the end, you start running again. It's a great break spot. And these had aid stations pretty much every 2 kilometers. Sorry, that's why I got used to in Canada. Which was really a lot of aid stations. So try nothing new on race day. Sorry, I tried something new on race day, and I used a new bib belt with hydration, which worked out great. But I had one of my bike bottles filled with water. I had my gels and my little Sour Patch watermelons, my diabetes, and I started off again so excited. And I'm going down. Of course, I link up with someone right away, and we're BSing beginning. And this dude obviously is ready to kind of keep going. When I saw my first mile was like 8:49, I was like, oh, we got to slow down right now. So he goes off, and I'm like, let's get into an actual pace where you can survive. And I kept looking down and seeing that my watch, that my heart rate was staying in the 140s the entire time. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this guy knows what he's talking about with his 80-20. Fine. Coach, you win. All right, I'm sold, But it was a nice metric for me during the run because obviously you're tired. Your body's tired. Your mental game is what comes in, but seeing that is like, okay, my body can still handle this. If I'm still doing the same pace or even slightly slower and I'm still in that zone too, I can withstand it. I can do it. So all this training that you pounded down on me is now going to last me forever to see that, okay, these are where my race is supposed to be. I'm supposed to be able to do this at a higher threshold during race day, but still keep that heart rate down. So yeah, I walked through the aid stations. The course was great. There was a two lapper. You had probably about a mile and a half, 2 miles out, got into the lap course. Again, the fans. Oh my God, the fans out there in the pouring rain. My kids out there in the pouring rain. They didn't venture out to the run course, thank God. It would have felt so bad for them. But so many people were out there. Most of them congregating over those probably 3 or 4 overpasses that we go under. They were packed underneath these things. And of course, it echoes. So everything is so loud. And you hear that again. Your vibes get going. You're like, yes, let's go. This is awesome. You're filled with positivity. Whatever pain you have, it just goes away. So the fans and the volunteers in Ottawa were phenomenal. I mean, I was very worried about a lot of things on this, but engaging with them and seeing them out there suffering in the rain like the rest of us, which again, I didn't mind the rain. I was hoping it would rain on the run. I mean, you talk about Ottawa in August as what we saw a high of like 86 degrees. And after Musselman a few years ago, when I'm pouring ice down my onesie, I'm like, or as my wife calls it, my sport romper, it was great to be cooled off in the rain. Yeah, your feet were heavy, they were wet. I knew I was going to lose a couple toenails because, when they get wet, they get softer. I only losing one. Only one big toenail looks like it's going all black and blue. But very good. Hills were minimum. There was probably 2 there that were like hills, with the exception of the big one at the end. On the course, they were easy. I mean, just keep going. Hit the aid stations. Drink the electrolytes. Grab the Coca-Cola for the blood sugar. Kept going. And I was able to pretty much sustain everything until just before 18 miles, when I really started feeling a little bit of tightness in my left quad. I was like, all right, this is starting to hurt now. I got to the next aid station, and I'm like, all right, walk through this. There was bathrooms there. I'm like, all right, we'll do that. We'll try to empty out everything. I was like, ooh, banana. Bananas are great. Potassium, cramps. Let's go. So I took the half banana. Excuse me. There are a couple people on the bathroom line. Perfect. I'll start stretching out a little bit. Let's get the blood flow going back in there. As much as my body is warm, I'm sure with the rain on the skin, it's getting a little cold. So, I'm rubbing the muscle out. I'm stretching, getting the blood flow going. Use the body, hang back on. And I got back down to probably a 9:45-10 for about 3 miles. Just about. I'm like, okay, this is good. And then I started feeling just full body fatigue. My feet are hurting. My legs are hurting. I'm tired. And, that 12-hour thought, because that's what I started doing. Mile 1, I'm like, I started doing the math. All right, you're around hour 18. You're around 10 minutes. Around 6 hours, I'm like, holy shit. Can I hit 12 hours on this? I'm like, I wanted to finish the race, then possibly 14 hours before sunset. 13 hours if I was like, everything went great. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is daunting. And part of that is what kept me going. I was like, I can get as close as possible. I was like, I might come under, which was my original goal. And then after my 100-mile bike and 18-mile run, I was like, no, not hitting 12 hours after that. So seeing that and thinking about that was like, I might pull this off. Like, I know I'm finishing. I could walk the rest of this. I'll make it. It's fine. Great. I'll still be an Ironman. I'll still be very excited that I did this. But I might do something crazy with myself. And once I started getting tired again, I'm like, who gives a shit? You got 5 miles left. That's nothing. You've done 64. Like, this is cake. Just slow down. Walk twice. So I did. Walked to the aid stations, ran a little bit, walked a little bit again. And then, of course, get linked up with another guy doing the same thing. It was like, you want to run a little bit? Let's run a little bit. Then you start getting to those overpasses. That starts getting the blood going. So now I start just picking it back up just a little bit until I got to that last hill, which was not the last hill because there was like 2 more little pieces of that hill on the way. But, yeah, just feeding off of the crowds, feeding off of the other runners with me. Talking to a couple people that didn't have great English because they spoke French because they're from, French Canada. That was their main language. Still making it work. I have a little bit of French from, middle school and high school on my belt. So I was doing a little bit back and they're like, oh, parlez-vous français? I'm like, comme ci, comme ça, très mal. They're like, oh, you're American. So again, lots of laughs, lots of fun, and just made it. And when I turned the corner, finisher chute. Oh my God, the finisher chute. Lined with that Ironman map that you've seen on 100 videos. All these inspirational things that you've seen people do. The last finishers coming in with the fog lights and the lights going, and everyone, like, now people are lined up. High fives are going. What do you think I'm doing? I'm hitting every high five I possibly can. I'm all excited. Like, I can't see the bell yet. I don't care. I'm so hyped up on adrenaline right now. I turn the corner. I see the bell. That's my bitch. I'm like, yes. So my wife, being who she is, she was stationed right behind it, but they had like a little border around it. So I wanted to, kiss her and the kids too. It was like one of the things I was looking forward to, but couldn't even see her. She was so far back from it. But she was there to make sure. She even texted me. I didn't even see it. Bells to the right, because she knew that's what I was looking for. She has a 2-minute long video of people just completely shitting the bed on the bell. Going to look up in the inside, it's not there, not knowing what to do. So I came up, I saw the thing hanging. Even I fumbled trying to grab it at first. But I grabbed this thing and I laughed looking at the video after. I was like, I look so angry. I look so bad hitting it. But I slammed the shit out of that bell and I was so happy. And again, the video you see, the bell. Like, oh, oops. But got down and some big excited guy that was also excited to see the finish line kind of got a little bit in front of me and did his big hands up. I was like, oh, whatever. My finisher shot is gone. So I saw a person to high five on the side. I went over, hit the high five on the side, and came back in. And they didn't even say my name, but apparently you were yelling it, so it counted.
Oh, we were watching the live stream. Now, yeah, I know. It felt like the announcer decided to take a break real quick when a few people came across the finish line, but that doesn't matter. You rang the bell,
Great
and
feeling.
although numbers and times really at the end of the day don't mean anything, but to you personally, it really, I'm sure, did mean something. But like coming across in 12:02:20, I said if this guy says one thing about being pissed off that he didn't break 12, I'm like, no, you ran a 12-hour Ironman. You didn't, 12 hours, you ran it. Like that is a hard feat to do your first time through it. When I saw that time pop up in the app, I was just like, damn, like my boy put together a good race today. And it just goes to show that anything truly is possible with this long course stuff. There is so many outside factors, and not every one of them is going to go to plan. You could do 3 more of these over the next 3 years if you wanted to, and you may never see this magical day again where it all just fell into place out there. One of the things I get asked all the time with like, oh, when are you going to do another Ironman? And I'm like, for a few years after, I think it was in 21, it was like, I wanted to savor that day and race and finish, and I still savor it. And it's like, I don't want to spoil it because I did have a really good day too. And that's why I'm so excited for you. Like everything fell into place. Your training fell into place that day. You got what you deserved out there on the race course. You earned it. It's like, you don't want to taint that. Like, I want to go on and do something else for a little while because like, if you go do it again, like you're just, that memory kind of gets pushed away. Like, you know how it is. You do all these trail runs, like they all start to blur after a while, but this will stand out and this will stand out for a very long time. So like, how'd you feel after that? Like,
I was extremely surprised. Like, again, starting to run, seeing that it was possible, I was excited. But just being there, being able to do the damn thing, finishing it was finishing it. And I felt the same way about even 100K. I had a 12-hour goal. I was 13:08. I don't care about that either. Like, I ran 100K in the trails. That's awesome. So same thing with this. I mean, Muscle Man still should have had 4 hours shaved off and had a sub-2 half marathon at the end. I'll never get over that one. But I learned from that mistake. All right, that was a fueling problem. I stopped fueling on the bike in the last 15 miles, and my blood sugar tanked on the run. Didn't do that this time. Going into T2, coming up the hill right before it, I took another my last chew. I was like, I'm not doing this again. We're learning our lessons. So whatever I came in at didn't matter. Whatever happened out there, of course, it would have maybe bothered me at the time, but I just had to get that bell. That's all I cared about, was hitting the bell. Is it 12:02 awesome? Oh my God, it's amazing. Do I care about the 2 minutes? No. I can give you probably 12 different reasons or spots that I could have gotten off those 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm never going to care about it. I'm way ahead of what I thought I was going to be able to do here overall. So 12:02 is a huge win, even over the fact of the huge win of doing a freaking Ironman. So no, after 12:02, we did it.
Well, now looking back on this and looking forward in the same question is overall what you learned through this, the biggest takeaway, and then is this process going to change the way you train for things in the future on whatever endeavors you go through? I mean, it seems like you've learned a lot. You've, like you just said, you had certain goals in trail running that things didn't go 100% as planned. And then this, we structured it right. We worked together. You learned a lot, I'm sure. Is this now looking back going to help you look forward is kind of what I want to ask.
Well, so it goes back to the whole, all's in the ends well kind of thing is a completely wrong way to look at stuff, right? Just because the end result was good doesn't mean you got to it the right way. And I've had great results in the past. I've had my 3:45 marathon when I wanted to get sub 4. It worked out great. But it doesn't mean that the training was right. It doesn't mean that I did the right thing. So learning I hate to say it, but a healthier way of doing it to see what I hate to say it, but you created. Obviously, the system works. All right, so this is going to completely change the way I train to the point where I don't know if my friend reached out to you about her marathon training. I did recommend you. I told her I'd work out something I could for her for the next, I don't know, month and change that she has left, 2 months. And I went very much into the zones of training and took a lot of what I learned and said, listen, I'm not a coach, I'm not certified, but from what I learned on this, I tried so many different ways. This really brought the end product. So here's what I think you should do. Whatever, you do what you want. Again, no certifications here, but just a person that has learned it by doing it. So yeah, this is completely change everything I do. Obviously got some stuff in the future goals, but right now it's just building that running base back up, getting back in the trails in the fall, having fun with it. You quoted, by the way, thank you very much for the nice things you said about your last video about me. Goggins always like, I don't train for a race, I train to be ready. That's kind of where I'm at now. My prospects at this point are like 3.5 years from now. I have a long goal that I have to work my way up to. So get back into lifting. Maybe I need to fix my other shoulder now because that was the only like real big pain I had after I got done with the night. But get back into lifting, get that dad bod back out of here again, get the fat off, get some muscular structure back, and get back into enjoying running. Hitting the trails, doing whatever I can, going out with the girls, having fun with it again. But taking what you taught me, enjoying more of the slower runs. Letting that build your base up because now it's a whole new world of seeing what I can do. So it's definitely changing everything I'm doing from now on. So thank you for that.
No, and I hope you tell people, your training partners, people you meet in the future, just kind of what worked for you. And again, what works for one person may not necessarily be the approach for that person right there. But like you said, the quote unquote healthy approach, it's a sustainable approach. We have families, we have jobs, we have careers. We are just normal human beings, age group, mere mortals out there on the race course looking to just get a finish line and an experience under our belt.
Become immortal.
To become immortal out there on the course. And that's what it's all about, is getting to the finish line, hopefully having a good result for what you put into it, and being able to talk about it a week later and not be injured and not be beat down so much where you just don't want to do anything anymore. Like, I can see it already. Like, even when you posted like your run, I'm like, hey, give it another day or two, buddy. Like, stay off your feet, go on your bike or something. Give yourself like a true week off. But no, this is perfect. And you're going to hit it perfect because I know with your planning, and I'm always here to answer your questions. I'll always be part of your journey, whatever you have. Is the seasons. Like, you're going to go into this other season right now of other things you want to work on. And that is part of the sustainability piece as well, because all too often athletes will do this. They're living on such a high and they're like, you know what, I'm going to go run a marathon in 6 weeks. And it just becomes this vicious cycle of races, chasing finish lines. Enjoy this one for a while. You truly earned it. Your family deserves a little bit of your time now. Get back there, get out, mow the lawn. I saw you out there the other day. You posted a picture. You're like, finally cutting the lawn.
Like 8 inches tall.
And and Ryan will be part of the community at least for the rest of the year. Coached athletes 1-to-1. You come on board, we do it, but it's not like see you later. We have a community built, a private community where I want you to be a part of it still. Make sure you're posting your stuff in there, using that for your accountability to keep on pushing through there to what's next. But I just want to say congratulations again. Seriously. It was well earned that day out there in Ottawa. Crazy. I can't believe we're already like a week post talking about this. I
I
mean,
still remember the conversation 2 years ago when we first started talking about getting you as a coach. It's nuts.
And I said it would go fast, and it sure as shit did.
It
Like
did.
one day we'll just be talking about this post race, and here we go. Any final words of wisdom out there for someone listening in that maybe is like been on the fence about wanting to do something big or an Ironman, and like
For a long time, I mean, I always enjoyed running. It was my go-to for whatever kind of anxiety stuff I had, just getting some energy out, get some fatigue to be able to go to sleep, whatever the situation was. It was always my joy to go. I was for a long time go further, not faster. We all chase PRs. We all want to do this. We all want to go faster. But when you look at things like how much more impressive is it? We hit that 5K. People have that huge goal of a 5K, and it's a big goal for a lot of people. Instead of trying to do a faster 5K, see if you can hit a 4 mile. Slowly work up that distance, because now that you're going to start showing how much more you can do. You have these people that are doing a 12-minute 5Ks. Great. Congratulations. You're the fastest person on the planet. But to see people challenge themselves more and more, and I always felt, and I tell a couple friends this, I'm like, no, go further. You did your 10K, look for a 15. Just challenge yourself. I mean, your motto is perfect. All right? I just inspire others. Set your goals and go. So, yeah, hoping, what was this, August of 2026? What would that be? Late March, early April of 2030, whenever I turn 40, whenever that is, I want to do the full Pomanock. It's like 125 miles. That's the long-term one. And I figured if I can get away with anything with this, it's here where we don't have to travel for things. We'll see how it goes. I might have to hit up Coach Ryan at that point when it gets closer to. No offense,
he might be coaching both of us for that one. I'm gonna jump in on that. I might have to jump in on that with you.
Attaboy, yes. So yeah, just again, go further, not faster. You have questions, ask them. There's a huge community out here. People want to help. People be excited for you to do it, and by you doing it, you might get someone else to do it too. All right, I sent an email at work the week before I left and kind of said what I was doing, because all of them see me, when I was on Midnights, getting dressed and leaving before work to go out and do 20, 30 miles in the trails. They're like, what are you doing? You just worked a whole midnight. I was like, this is what I do. This is it. So I told him, I was like, if you want to go for a walk, go rollerblading, run on a bike, whatever, yoga. If you need accountability buddy, let me know. No problem. So find your community, find your person. You don't need a reason but for what you want. Go for it.
I love it. Well, thank you for coming on today. We're going to wrap up the episode. Ryan, congratulations again, becoming an Ironman. Thanks for coming on, sharing your journey. I love recapping. We're going to have this conversation anyway. Why not record it? It's something that might motivate you if you're in a funk down the road, or again, it's going to possibly motivate that person to, again, maybe go further. So from training and challenges along the way, putting it all together on race day, it was awesome to be a part of that. And everybody listening, thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Giving It a Try on the podcast here. Until next time, Ryan just said it. We're going to push limits, set standards, and inspire others. So thanks for tuning in. And Ryan, keep getting after it out there.
Thanks, Coach.